So first, for our very first Friday feature, I'm going to be sharing our brand new spring sampler project. And I am so excited to be sharing this project with you. And I am first going to show you a couple of slides from my computer, and then I will be so happy to come back and answer any questions you might have. Unfortunately, I can't do both at once on my computer screen. So I'm so happy to see some friends from last year joining, and welcome. Let's take a look at this Friday feature project. So this officially, I know we've been teasing this for a few weeks, but this officially is our spring sampler project. Sampler projects are a really great way to play with a whole bunch of fun and fabulous different fabric prints and a whole bunch of techniques. And I am really super excited about this project because it checks a whole bunch of those boxes. The prints from this fabric collection used in our sampler are from my Spring Song fabric collection by Contempo Fabrics by Benertex. And I am so in love with this collection right now because here in Northern California, where our studio is, it has been kind of gloomy and dreary and kind of cold and just drizzly for the last week or two now. And so these gorgeous spring colors just kind of make me happy, and they are so bright and saturated and even prettier in person. And of course, you'll recognize my signature midnight blue and aqua colors. You see those in a lot of my fabric collections. But with this fabric collection, we've also mixed in the prettiest shades of these berry and rosy reds and some grassy greens. And then I have some grays mixed in because spring does have some gray mixed in a little bit, but we have so many great textural prints that I know you'll find loads of uses for these prints in your own project. But let's take a look specifically at our sampler project. And so this is a sampler quilt. It finishes at 76.5 inches square. So that is a bit smaller than a queen size, but it is a really perfectly sized throw quilt. This is the size of quilt that I love to make because it's just long enough that I can lay on the couch and read with it and have my toes covered, but it's not so huge that it's dragging on the floor. So this is one of my favorite quilt sizes to make, this 76-inch size. And the sampler quilt, what makes it a sampler quilt is that you have a whole bunch of different block designs. So this quilt features 7 unique block designs for a total of 13 blocks. And these are 14-inch blocks. So that is a really great size to put together. And we've put them on a really traditional on-point setting. So this quilt is kind of really marrying the feeling of a traditional quilt, but we're using modern and contemporary fabrics and fun graphic blocks. And so it's just a really great way to kind of play around with some different techniques and some different styles. One of my favorite things about this project is that it is fat quarter friendly, which is insane. It is so hard to design a quilt and to make it fat quarter friendly. And this one just kind of happened to work out that way. And so for each of the block designs, you can usually get 2 blocks out of about 4 to 6 fat quarters, which is really fantastic. So everybody always asks when I put out a new pattern what the difficulty level is. And this one, there's a lot going on here. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot going on here, but there's nothing particularly super complex about any of these blocks. So I'm going to put it as a confident beginner pattern. It's best for somebody that has a little bit of quilting experience and some general knowledge of quilting practices under their belt. But the exciting thing is that this is a block of the month program and a quilt along. So we will be sewing on this project together. So that means if you are worried that you are not quite up to scratch on some of your skills, or that you don't have a whole lot of quilts under your belt, don't worry about it, because you have this community here on Facebook and our live video tutorials that we'll be doing to put these blocks together. So more on the videos in just a minute, but if you've made any of my patterns, you know that all of these blocks, no matter how complicated they are broken down into small, manageable pieces in shapes that you probably already know how to make. And if you don't, they're pretty easy to learn. I pride myself on writing clear and concise patterns that help you make these seemingly complex quilts very easily. And so speaking of the blocks, here is a chance to kind of look at all of the blocks in one place. As I said, there are 7 different block designs, and we've kind of used a variety of colors and shapes and sizes. And we have a really great mix of stars, and these are all really technically 9 patch blocks. We'll get more into that as we go through the quilt along. But all of the blocks, while they're different, they all feature that signature style that I have, where I'm taking 2 or 3 or 4 different shapes and kind of putting them over and superimposing them on top of each other to create these layer upon layer of designs. And I think that this adds a lot of depth to your quilt and a lot of visual interest. And it's just kind of my favorite kind of quilt blocks to design. And because all of these blocks are very different, we have the chance to play around with loads and loads of different construction techniques. And so what that means for you too is that you have the chance to learn some new construction techniques. And the other great thing is if you come across a technique that you're not crazy about, we all have those techniques that we just kind of like to avoid. There's not very many of them because you're just making a block or 2. So you can get past the techniques that you're not crazy about and move on to some that you are. And this is a great skill builder program. So you'll get the chance to make all kinds of shapes and use all kinds of different techniques. So just to highlight a few that we have a whole bunch of half square triangle blocks. We have some hourglass blocks, and I have some great tips and tricks to share for getting them to lay flat, because they're notoriously wonky in the center. And so we have some great tutorials for that coming up. You also have my favorite stitch and flip flying geese blocks, and all of the square and square blocks in this project are made using the stitch and flip method as well. So that's really exciting. And then we also have some of these little log cabin quadrants and even some classic little weather vane corners. So there's a whole bunch of different shapes to play with, and every month you'll get a new shape to make, and it's all very exciting and fun to put together. Just real quick about the pattern. If you are new to my patterns, everything is in full color and everything is fully illustrated. We have step-by-step instructions for piecing and very clear and concise and very well labeled construction diagrams. And so in the Block of the Month program, if you sign up to receive our monthly shipments every month, you will get a pattern page and somewhere between 4 and 6 fat quarters. And you'll use those fat quarters to make usually 2 blocks as directed. So when I was making my own sample quilt back in October, I found that I could get these 2 blocks cut out and pieced in about 2 or 3 hours. So it's a good chunk of time. It's nice little project to kind of work on in one setting. And that's actually the thing that I really like most about these small sampler projects is there is something so satisfying to get a cute little envelope in the mail every month full with some cute little fat quarters, and to be able to get the instant gratification of cutting and sewing for 2 or 3 hours and having 2 finished blocks at the time. So at the end of that time spent. And it's just, for me at least, it's a really nice way to spend a dreary afternoon or a quiet Saturday morning, or even if you just need a break from working on your larger and more time-intensive projects, these small monthly blocks are just a fantastic way to do that. So how to join us. I'm getting loads of emails from this, and so I want to just lay everything out for you. There are 3 different ways that you can join us. The first way is to sign up for our Block of the Month program. And what that means is every month, starting about in mid-March of 2021, so that's March through October, you'll receive an envelope from me that contains some fat quarters and your cutting and piecing instructions for the month. And then for your 8th shipment, you will receive all of the fabrics that you need to make the sashing and the cornerstones, plus all of the triangles around the edge, the borders, and the binding. So 7 monthly shipments for the blocks, and then a final large shipment containing all of the fabric that you need to finish the quilt. And the price of these shipments for US addresses, and this includes the mailing fee, is just $22.50 a month. And so that's out the door, shipped, and that includes that large shipment at the end. So that's the first way to join us. The second way to join us, some of you are on time constraints, or you want the quilt done all at once, or if you're like me and you sign up for some of these block of the month and you're always afraid that you're going to lose one of the blocks, or for whatever reason you just want to get the full quilt kit at once, we also have the option to purchase the whole thing now, and you'll receive a full copy of the pattern from start to finish as well with the kit. And you can sew your quilt along with us at your own pace, or you can work ahead. And then the final option, some people are opting to sew with fabric from their stash. So we do have copies of the digital and the print patterns available in our shop. And I'll give you the link to that in just one moment. But the most exciting part about this sampler project is that we are bringing back our live Zoom classes. So for those of you that sewed along with me for our Luna Mystery Quilt last summer and our Northern Lights Quilt Along last fall, you know that we had Zoom meetings where you could log on to a private Zoom call with me and a few other of your fellow attendees and watch me walk you through the block construction for that segment of the quilt along. And so we are bringing these live Zoom classes back for the spring sampler. We will be meeting on the first Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so it will be a live Zoom call. You'll get an invitation with a link and a username and password, and you can either log on and sew right along with us, or you can log on and watch the techniques and then sew later. So these live classes are once a month for the 8 months of the program, and space is limited. So to give you the best experience as I can, we can't have 100 students in a class. So space for these live classes are limited to those in the order that you RSVP. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in this portion, to do that as soon as possible. These live classes are free to attend if you either purchase the block of the month, so the monthly fat quarter shipments, or if you purchase the full quilt kit. If you choose to purchase the pattern on its own as a standalone pattern, there is an option for an additional fee to add on access to the Zoom classes as well. So with all 3 of your kits, you have the opportunity to attend these live Zoom classes. However, if Zoom is not your thing, or you can't make a Thursday night meeting, or you have to miss 1 or 2 of the episodes, don't worry, because we will be recording all the classes and we will be sharing them on our brand new class platform. I'm so excited. This is such a new user-friendly class platform. And so you'll be able, a few days after the live video happens, to go back and watch the videos as many times as you want back on our class homepage. And again, it's free to watch with your kit purchases or with that additional class pass if you're just buying the standalone pattern. So I am super excited about that. This is such a fun project to put along. So if you would like to join us, I am going to, when we're done streaming this video, I'm going to put the link in the comments of this Facebook Live post down below. But you can also go to our website at corasquilts.com, and at the top of the page, click on the button that says Quilt Alongs. And that will take you to all of our projects that we've had over the years. But this first or second one is this spring sampler project. And from that page, you can get your kit. You can sign up for the Block of the Month Club. It has the full schedule, so all of the dates and times that we will be meeting. And it has the link to RSVP for those Zoom classes. So I hope you are as excited about this project as I am. It is such a fun thing to put together, and I think that you're really going to have a great time putting it together.